Hello and welcome everyone. Thank you for joining me today as we explore releasing by the full moon. This phase of the moon brings about completion. It illuminates what doesn't serve us and invites us to release, forgive, let go of what no longer serves us. Though the full moon only lasts for a few minutes, you can harness its energy the evening before and the morning after the full moon, allowing for a 3-day window for you to do your releasing. This creates an opening to receive what we manifest during the new moon. Because in order to move forward and create, we need to let go and clear space to receive. This last full moon of 2022 is in the sign of Gemini. I read that this full moon carries some heated energy around it and may stir up past issues that still need to be resolved. So while we may be eager to release the energies of the past year, there still may be some more work that we need to do before releasing it. While there is a variety of ways to release, today I will guide you through a full moon release NeuroArt practice. This past year may have more messages for us, more gifts, and more insights, still waiting for us to explore. And the best way to do it, I think, is through Neurographic. Sometimes we're not aware of what we need to let go of, or the messages that there is for us to learn. And that's the beauty of Neurographica. We can always use it to help us identify the things that we cannot express with our analytical mind. We do not need to know with Neurographica. Our subconscious mind knows, and we can use this practice to create awareness, to open up to the receiving the gifts and messages, and open up to possibilities. For today's practice, you will need a compass, a marker. It could be any marker that you have. Make sure it's permanent because we will be using watercolors, and it could be any color that you choose, and a few colored pencils. I've got a few sorted out already. I may use those. I add different colors. You also want to have a variety of watercolors. It can be any kind of watercolors that you want to use. A couple of brushes for your painting, and water, one to clean your dirty brushes and another one of clean water for your drawing. Before we begin, let's set up our space. I call it creating sacred space, as it's a way to invite in the sacred, your higher self. You can set it up any way that calls to you. What I like to do is I like to light a candle, diffuse some essential oils. If you have my creativity blend or a full moon blend, you can go ahead and use that. Or you could choose any oil that speaks to you and diffuse it. Go ahead and take your candle out. And if you don't have one, that's okay. I'll be lighting one for all of us. So let's start by putting our hands on the paper and closing our eyes and taking a breath in and letting it out. And go ahead and with your next breath, settle into your heart space. Set your intention to let go of what no longer serves you. And with your next breath, open your eyes. So for this practice, I combined my watercolor technique along with the Neurographics. And the reason I like watercolor is because to me, it represents emotions, it represents flow, and it helps cleanse. So we're going to start by drawing a circle. So go ahead and grab your compass and, approximate the center of your paper. And you want a fairly large circle to represent your moon. Go ahead and lightly draw your moon. And if you don't have a compass, you can use a bowl, a plate, anything that can help you draw a circle. If you want to freeform your circle, that's fine too. Now what you're wanting to do is to start coloring in your circle, which is representing your moon. And you can use any color that you like. I like to use light colors like pinks and blues and sometimes gray. Sometimes I put a little purple, yellows. But you go ahead and use what works for you. And let's see, grab a couple brushes here. So what I like to do when I get started with my watercoloring of the moon, I start wet on wet. So I start wetting the paper so that my moon is nice and wet and my colors can, my watercolors can flow. And what you're looking for is a sheen on your paper. You don't want puddles. So if you see any puddles, you can use your brush to sop up the extra water. Basically, you just want your paper to have a little glistening to it. And then you know that it's wet enough. Okay. Like I said, if there's any puddles, go ahead and swipe them up. I don't think you can see it on the camera, or maybe you can see the glistening going on. And then go ahead and wet the colors that you're wanting to use. I'm going to start with some blue, gray. And start coloring in your moon. And if you want to lighten your color, just add a little more water, and that will lighten up color. And don't be afraid to use other colors. And mix it up a little. Might want to add a little bit of pink. Let it blend in with the blue and create some purple. Just allow yourself to play. See where it takes you. Like I said, don't be afraid to play. Things don't have to be any certain way. And if you want to, if you got too much color in one place like I just did, you can always pick it back up, lighten it up, add more water, take it away. However you want to do that. Watercolor is so unpredictable and it's so free form, and I don't know, I love it. It teaches me to let go of outcome, that's for sure. Once you think you have your moon the way you like it, you can go ahead and stop and let it dry. You can help it along by getting a blow dryer and blow drying it. When you are blow drying it, if it happens to start warping, you can always flip your page around and blow dry the back, and that helps it flatten out some. Right. And then if you want to erase some of the pencil lines that you may have left behind from the compass, you can. If you've already painted over it, it won't be able to be erased, and that's okay. I painted over some of the lines, and in the end, quite honestly, you're not going to see it when we're done with our project. Once it's dry, we're going to start with our neurographic art, and we're going to be using two elements. One is going to be a counterclockwise spiral, and the other one is going to be circles. So grab your marker, and we start at the center of the moon. And if you use the compass like I did, you might see your little pinprick in the center. But we start at the center of the moon, and we are going to spiral out towards the left, which will give us a counterclockwise spiral. And it represents releasing and dissolving, which is what we are doing. You know, we're releasing what no longer serves us out into the universe. So go ahead and start in the center and spiral around. And you're going to want to take it all the way out to the outside of your paper. Now you're going to want to go over it again, allowing your marker to go in a flowy way through it. And what this is doing is just creating a neural line that's going to energize your spiral. You're giving it lots and lots of energy. And you can do this several times. And then once again, I'm going to ask you to connect to your breath and place your hands on the paper and close your eyes and take a breath in, a breath out. Center yourself. Make sure that your feet are on the floor. You're grounded. That you feel the chair beneath you. And now open your eyes. Take your hand and your finger, connecting to your spiral. Feel into what needs to be released, or even if you feel that something needs to be released, even though you don't know what it is, and go ahead and draw a circle representing that needs to be released. You might know what it is, and go ahead, if you do, to label it if you want. If you don't, it's okay. Your subconscious knows, and that's good enough. And then continue to follow your circle, or your spiral, pardon me. And again, wherever you feel that there's something that wants to be released, draw your circle. And there may be a lot of circles, a few circles. They can be big or small. They can overlap two lines. Whatever moves you, whatever comes in. And as you're doing this, go over your circles and check in with yourself. Go ahead and take a breath at each circle. Feel into what it is that you're releasing, whether you know or you don't. It doesn't matter. And check into the emotion. What emotion is coming up around the circle? The circle for me represents letting go of fear, fear of public speaking and fear of, showing up. I suffer from anxiety, as some of you already know. And it's challenging for me to show up in the world. So I'm feeling into this, and I know that the emotion here is fear. I then tune into the body sensation. My body sensation is like butterflies in my stomach. Tune into any thoughts that come up, and I already shared my thoughts, my anxiety and my fear of putting myself out there in the world. And then any insights, right away I get that everybody has to start somewhere, and these are my tiny steps to showing up. And then follow your circle, again, follow your spiral. And again, at your next circle, feel into it and see, what comes up. You can open up a journal page and write what comes up. You can use the back of your paper, and you can continue moving on to each circle. You can pause the video, or you can continue with me and tune in and jot down what you get. Again, you're going to be checking in with your emotions, your body sensations, any thoughts that come up, and any reflections, any intuitive hits that you may get. And it doesn't matter whether you know or not what it is that you're releasing. Your subconscious knows, and that's good enough. Remember to breathe. Breath helps your emotions flow. Breath helps your thoughts flow. This is about not becoming attached to any of your thoughts, and definitely it's not about judgment. Just go ahead and breathe in and out and let the thoughts come through, let the emotions come through. So what is it that you're letting go from this past year? And tune into it and see what other messages it has. Why are you letting it go? Why is it time to release it? Once you feel like you've completed your cycles through each of them, I'd like for you to go to your first one and start in the middle of that. And again, create the same kind of spiral all the way out within that. So you're energizing it and you're releasing it. You're allowing the energy of this particular thing that you are releasing to dissolve and spin out into the universe. And we don't want any loose ends, so at the end, go ahead and meet the circle with your little tail that ends up at the end of your spiral. Remember to breathe. Breathing is important. All right. So from here, we're going to start rounding. And by rounding is anywhere there's an intersection, I want you to go ahead and round it out so that there isn't any sharp edges. You're going to go around your spiral and over the lines that you've already drawn. And just start rounding all the little corners. I know it's hard to see right now in the center here, but you can start seeing where they cross and they intersect. I'm just going over them and rounding them. And sometimes for me, it's better if I use a sharper marker so you can see a little more of a point there. So I can get into these little crevices because some of them are kind of small. And if you find a place where there's a lot of little spaces to round, you can create little circles. You can see that right there. Or you can color it in. It's totally up to you, however you want to do those little intersections. I like to create little circles whenever I can. Remember to go over the neural line you created. And this helps blend in these dark intersections that you're rounding. Work your way all the way around. Always remember to breathe. Breathe in, breathe out. This is a little intersection where there's little tiny circles that I want to create. And the goal is to round all the intersections. When you get to one of the things that you are releasing, reflect on it. See if there's anything more that it's telling you that you're needing to know, to understand. Any insights that may come up, and if they do, take the time to write them in your journal or the back of the page. Remember to breathe in and out. Working your way all around. Rounding each intersection, going over your original neural line. And by doing so, it darkens it and blends it all together. This way, your intersections won't stand out while your lines, are fading. Just run your marker over them, strengthening the lines, energizing your spiral even more. Again, when you come to one of the circles representing something you're releasing, reflect on it. Is there anything that it's telling you? Is there anything you need to know that you've forgotten? Check in with your emotions. What are you feeling when you reflect on what this circle is that you're releasing? Where in your body are you feeling any body sensation? For me, the circle is bringing tension in my jaw. And that's okay. We're just observing. This is all about observing and being open to receiving, being curious. Be curious about the thoughts that arise while you're exploring this circle. Be open to any reflections, Any messages? Intuitive hits that might come up. Remember to go over the lines you previously made so that they become darker and blend in with what you're doing. Breathe in and breathe out. It's okay to turn your page around. Look at it from a different angle. Remember not to get attached to anything that comes up. Just be curious. Be open. And it's okay if you do what I just did and go over your lines and wiggle out and make another little bubble. That's totally fine. You can round that one too. And this isn't about perfection or even the outcome of your drawing. It's the process. It's allowing yourself to go deep within, get curious, and explore what comes up. Be open to seeing things differently. Be open to receiving messages, insights, solutions, however they show up. All right, so after we're done rounding, we're going to start at the center of our art piece, and we are going to take some neural lines out through the circles that we are releasing and out to the end of our page. Now remember, neural lines will be lines that will flow in various directions where you don't even think they're going to go. So you're not guiding them. I'm not going and saying, okay, I'm going to go this way and this way and this way. No. What happens is I start going and my mind says I want to go this way, and I will choose purposely to go a different direction. So it's kind of hard to get into the rhythm of it, and it takes practice. But you want to go in the direction that you are not aware of going. And what this does is it creates a different way of thinking. It creates new neural pathways into our brain and our thoughts. And you're going to want to continue to create these lines going out from the center all the way out to the edge of your paper. And you want the line to go all the way out because what you're doing is expanding outside of your paper. This is just a snapshot of your reality right now. So you are extending it to go outside and beyond. Once you feel like you have enough lines going out to the center, you could start branching these lines that you already made. And you're doing that because there's a lot of white spaces out here. And what you're trying to create is a lot of energy, a lot of connection out into the universe. So go ahead and follow these lines out. They can cross and go in any direction. Okay, when you feel like you have enough lines, start rounding again. Once again, you're going to go around every intersection and you're going to round it, creating harmony and connection, practicing non-judgment and detachment. You don't need to attach yourself to a thought, dissect it, judge it, analyze it. No, it's just about holding space for it, holding space for that thought, holding space for that emotion. Being open to whatever arises. Being curious. Follow your spiral all around, rounding each intersection with these new lines created. Remember to breathe in and out. Continue moving along. Don't forget to jot down anything, any intuitive hit that you have, or anything that you want to remember that comes up during this process. You'll be amazed how the simple practice keeps your ego busy and out of the way, so that you can really tune in and check in and listen to the wisdom of your body and your emotions, allowing them to flow, move through, release, and create space for a new possibility or a new understanding. And if you feel I'm doing too much talking, feel free to turn off the video and just do the rounding and be with your own internal self. Remember to breathe. Something that we forget. We start feeling into the emotions or the thoughts, and we don't realize that we get caught up in them and we forget to breathe. Breathing keeps you present. We tend to hold our breaths and get lost in the thought or in the emotion. Don't forget to turn your page around. This way allows you to see every angle. You can see if you missed any spots that need to be rounded. You'll notice as you're rounding all the corners that it starts looking like reminiscent of neurons firing. Which makes sense why it's called Neurographics. Or Neurographica. Neurographics is the English pronunciation. Neurographica was developed in Russia. Once over to make sure that you have all the lines, all the intersections rounded. And it helps if you turn your paper around and look at it from different angles. You might realize that you've missed a spot here or there. And even like when you start coloring, you might realize that you've missed some places where you could have rounded, and that's okay. You can do it when you see it. Okay, so the next step is to bring in color. And you have a couple choices here. You can color just your circles of what you're releasing. You can color segments out, to the side or through it. However you want to color it is fine. The one thing that I ask is to follow the neurographic rule of coloring in segments and not coloring like a mosaic, color, different colors next to each other. Color in segments of 4, 5, 6 of the same color. I will go ahead and show you some examples of other full moon releases that I've done and how I've colored them. You can choose whatever colors you want, and I would suggest that you look into the colors that you've chosen. Colors represent emotions, and it's interesting to see the colors that we choose and why we were inspired to choose that color at that time. you're coloring, maybe you'll get a hit as to why you chose the particular color. And again, if you want to journal about it, so that you can remember what was going through your mind at the time, go ahead and take a moment and do so. And like I said, if you see any places where you forgot to round, just go ahead and grab your marker and round it. Once you feel you've finished with your coloring, our last step will be to draw some field lines. For the field lines, you're going to want to use a thicker marker. And these field lines are going to come out from the center, out to the edge of your paper once again. These fill lines are just like neural lines, only they're thicker, and they represent our connection to the universe. The fill lines can follow the lines that you already have, such like this, or they can be lines that you create. Like that. You want them to go out from the center in all directions. And then you're going to want to come back, make them thicker so that they can be seen distinctly different from your other lines. And if you step back and look at them, they're going to look like out of place, like they've just been placed on top of your art. So once again, you're going to go back and you're going to round wherever they've intersected. And in doing so, it integrates it into your artwork. So take your time, and wherever these field lines cross other neural lines, go ahead and round them, and it'll help them become part of your original work instead of looking like they were just placed on top of it all. So take your time and go around, and as you do so, remember to breathe. And once again, check in with yourself. How does it feel when you invite universal energy to support you in releasing what no longer serves you, in supporting you to understand the messages and the gifts of these things that you are letting go of. Observe your thoughts, your body sensations. Open yourself to any insights that come up. Turn your paper around and see if there's anywhere that you've missed, incorporating either the field lines or if you've missed where the lines are crossing. Our next step will be emphasizing a shape on your art piece. That can be one of the things that you are releasing. It could be the spiral itself, whatever you're drawn to emphasize. And you can do that by using the thicker marker, and thickening that area that you're emphasizing. Our last step is stylizing, and that's where you put your own finishing touches on the art piece to make it uniquely yours. It can be shading, it could be, a certain way that you want to add more color, cross-hatching, however you want to stylize your piece to make it yours. I hope you enjoyed our full moon release art session and connecting with your past, exploring their gifts and messages. And I hope you receive some great insights as we move through to 2023. So this concludes our session. I would love to hear how your session went, so feel free to post your drawing on our Facebook community, as well as you can post it on Instagram. You can use hashtag Moonlight Living Alchemy, and share with me how the process went for you, what you liked about it. If you have any questions, any takeaways, I'd love to connect with you and hear more about your process. Have a great day, everyone.